If there was one thing I could tell my 18-year-old younger self, is to know who you aspire to be. Know your purpose. Trust that feeling within yourself that you know that God has put within you for the life He envisages for you, for the life that you have both decided that is going to serve Him whilst you're on this earth. Know who that girl is, know what that vision looks like, and pursue it with absolute conviction, regardless of what everyone else may think, regardless of whether it just doesn't seem to make sense to anybody else. Know that, because you know what? My 18-year-old self did sort of know that, but because she didn't have the true conviction, the true belief of it, she was able to be swayed. And this is why I want to spend today telling you why it is so important for you to know what that vision looks like, know what your purpose is for this time, whether we like to think of it or not, is very short on this earth, so that you do not waste time on things that do not align with your purpose. It's Dr. Jessica here. I can't wait to go into this conversation. This is a topic that is so dear to my heart, and I hope by the end of it, you will also understand. If you maybe are 18 at this point, thinking, well, what do I do? How do I move forward? The key is knowing the vision you want for your life, knowing the purpose that God has put in your heart. You might be saying, well, that's kind of the joy of life. It's the mystery of not knowing where the cards will fall. We kind of should do life, just seeing what happens. Well, what I would actually say to that is absolutely, there is a mystery and beauty about life you cannot control. Even if you decided that your vision, your purpose was to become a dancer, it may be that you become a professional dancer at 35, at 25, at 19. You cannot say when your moment will come, but to say instead, I do believe that I'm supposed to become a professional dancer, but I'm not going to do anything about it. I'm just going to see if an opportunity falls into my lap. I honestly do not believe that that will work. And what may end up actually happening, which I have seen in a lot of my patients, is that you end up having regret later on in life. You now end up becoming that woman at 80 who said, I wish I had pursued the dream of becoming a professional dancer. That is what happens when you decide to not take charge of life, to not participate in your life, but to be a bystander. Yes, we cannot control when these things will happen, when the opportunity will happen, but knowing that purpose, knowing that vision, knowing that God has put you here to be a professional dancer, perhaps you realize this dream at 23 and you go for this vision, actually means that your chances of fulfilling this dream, I would say, are next to 100%. Because not only will you now have joy from pursuing it, you will achieve it. Because there's something that happens in this world is when we go for something with conviction, we know that this is our purpose, everything aligns. Patience, yes, is needed, but it truly aligns. From as young as I can remember, I was given the blueprint at home. I was told that you're going to become a doctor, you're going to marry this nice boy that we've picked out for you, you guys are going to have 4 children and live a highly successful life. The first part, I was very much in alignment with it. I knew I wanted a career that was going to involve healing, having contact with people. It was a toss-up at the time between studying law, psychology, or medicine. So I felt that my parents made a good argument for it to be the medicine. And I had no issues with that first side of things. But I did somehow feel the second part wasn't quite in alignment. The boy that my mother thought that I should marry, I just felt, I don't know if this person and I are going to make sense in the long term. And I remember at 23, 24, when I had graduated from medical school, saying to my mom, I know you like this boy, but it's a no for me. I want to actually go out. I haven't really been the kid at uni that explored, that dated, that found out what she would like in terms of the man that she wanted to be with. I want to take this opportunity to travel, to do different things, maybe even consider taking the American exams. I knew that I wanted to be in America, take the American exams, figure things out, get married. I didn't want to say this to my mom, marry the boy that I want to marry. But that was really what I was trying to say without saying. And you know, mum is a very intelligent woman. She figured that out, and she was very much, no, we've already picked out the boy for you. You need to be in the UK. America is violent, there's too much crime. Stay here, specialize, marry this boy, and you'll have a perfect life. This became a point of friction between the two of us, in which I solidly disagreed with the latter. But you know, the issue was, even though I knew in my heart that I wanted, the highest expression that I knew then for my being on this earth was to be a mother, was to dedicate that most of my life to being a good mother, a good wife. I let that doubt, well, actually, you need to have your career at the highest level first. Before that, you need to think about this family before you consider that you want to, as mum would put it, run around the world and figure things out. And so I let go of that thought. I let the blueprint continue. This is why it is so important for you to know, because the problem with not knowing what your purpose, what God has put in your life, is that you will be swayed, is that the doubt will creep in, is that you will not have that true belief in the pit of your stomach that, okay, so mum says there's no rush. She says, you're only 24, do the career, become a specialist, we'll find a boy. But you know, actually, your 20s are the best time for you to focus on your personal life. Your 20s, if you want, and I wanted 8 children at the time. Listen, since I've done obs and gynaes, absolutely not. But at the time, I had no idea, and I wanted 8 children. If you know that you want children, you don't want to be out here dating Tom, Dick, and Harry, because you know the more you date, the more toxic situations that you will potentially get into. If you know that you are quite religious and conservative, then you know getting married earlier is probably going to be the better thing to do if you meet your person. I knew this, but because I wasn't grounded in that vision, I didn't know that that's what I was actually feeling. Those were the things that God was trying to get me to realize. I felt that, well, this is what you do to be a perfect daughter. You follow what mum and dad have said. You kind of see how it goes. And I've got all the time in the world, right? Let's see what happens, is sort of how I was thinking at 24. I'm talking to any 20-year-olds, 21-year-old, 30-year-old, 33-year-old, 17-year-old watching this video. I want you to learn from my mistake. I want you to understand that this life goes so quickly. I do not want you to waste a moment spending time living the dream that other people have, living the purpose that other people think you should have. I want you to know what your purpose is, what the vision you want for your life. And even if that is having 8 children, I want you to have that vision, to hold it in front of you every day and to go after it. Now, just in case you're thinking, yeah, I kind of hear you, Jessica, but I'm not quite convinced. Well, I want to give you 8 reasons why it's important to know the vision you want for your life, the purpose that you have co-written with God as early as possible. And even if you are 40, 45, coming to this realization, it's still not too late. And I'm actually going to make another video to talk about this. But here are the 8 reasons why you should decide what your vision, what your purpose is. What has God put you on this earth to do as early as possible? Only by knowing how you envision your life will you know what your values are. Your purpose will come from knowing the sort of person you aspire to be. Number 2, you can drown out the noise. If you know that motherhood is what you want, you don't need to hear anything else about someone saying, no, you don't need to be a mom, be single. That is how to be happy in life. Be child free. You can drown out the noise. 3, Time is your greatest commodity, but it's also sadly one that you will not get back. Once you are 25, you cannot go back to being 24. Once you are 55, you cannot go back to being 30. You cannot afford to waste time on things that do not align with your purpose, with your vision. Do not waste time in relationships that are not heading in the direction you want. If you want marriage, why are you dating a man that doesn't ever want to get married? If you want children, why are you dating somebody who doesn't want kids? When you know your purpose and you understand that time is a commodity that you cannot get back, you realize just how little of it that you have, so you don't waste it. 4, if there is something that I know from being a doctor, is how short this life is. I remember when I was doing, I think it was surgical rotation, and I was sat with my patient. She just turned 100. And at the time I was doing surgical rotation, I think I was 25, 26. And she asked me, she's like, how old are you? And I was like, oh, I'm 25, 26. And she told me I just turned 100. I was like, wow, that's amazing. And she said to me, do you know it was just yesterday that I was your age? And at the time, I remember thinking, no way, like 100 is so old. I have heard this expression so many times since becoming a doctor. People who are 100 plus telling me it was only yesterday that I was your age. Time flies. This life is short. Number 5, the world is lying to you, particularly us women, when it tells you you can have it all. You can spend your first 38 years, 50 years life just pursuing your career. You can then wake up at 52 and you can have 4 children. No, you can't. The world is lying to you. You cannot have it all. You do have to make sacrifices. You do have to decide, okay, I want to make partner at the law firm, but I'm 34. Do I want kids? Do I want to get married? Well, maybe I need to decide that making partner at the law firm needs to be put to one side for now. The world is lying to you. Realize this and do not let it con you out of the life that you deserve. 6, when you know the vision you have for your life, you know where you're heading, you can avoid certain people. You can know when a relationship is not fitting for you. So much of the toxic things we let into our life, toxic people, is when you don't believe in who you are supposed to be. I was having this conversation, funny enough, not long ago with my sister, and I said, do you know what? I wish I understood what I understand now when I was 25. It is actually not that difficult in terms of when it comes to men. If a man is giving me toxic vibes, toxic energy, talking things that don't align with what I'm looking for, why am I still talking to him? Why are you still talking to him? Sure, there are people who are manipulative. Sure, there are people who will lie. But a lot of the times people will show you who they are. Now, if you don't know where you're headed in life, you don't know what you want, or you don't have that conviction, you will not remove these people the minute they show you who they are. I wish I could tell you that this life isn't hard, but it is. Number 7 is realizing how difficult this life can be, realizing that there will be moments when you think, what is the point of this, is actually what makes you have further conviction in your purpose. Because it's in the pursuit of this vision of your life that you actually find the true meaning of life. It is in the pursuit of this person you are, in seeing just how capable you are, how you overcome certain obstacles. If this is what makes you realize that this life that's going to be difficult, this is the meaning behind it. It's living out this life that I know that I was put here to live. And then finally, number 8, we will make mistakes. We will fall down. There will be moments of sorrow, losing lost loved ones, losing a job, illness. These are all aspects of life, but it's actually knowing who you are, knowing that you are not alone in this journey. For me, I know that God is always there with me, but knowing that there was a purpose for you being here, that makes you realize that even within those moments of sorrow, the beauty within it, the beauty of knowing that, yes, I know that I lost my nan last year, for instance, if that's your situation, But I understand that she had a beautiful life. I understand that she lived her purpose. And I understand that me being her granddaughter was a purpose in itself. The things that she's taught me, that is what I'm going to take forward. It is knowing who you are that actually in those moments of darkness allows you to stand up and say, it is still worth pursuing this. Now, I want you to do something for me. I want you to imagine that you are in the elevator of life and you have been given 30 seconds to answer the question. What is your purpose? What is your vision for your life? And I want you to write it down. And then I want you to look over it over the next few days and actually start to feel, am I living the life that aligns with this purpose, with this vision that I believe that I was put here to live? Am I actually doing it? And if not, why? What is stopping you? How can I get back into alignment with that?